Rocket League is definitely one of the games of all time. It's a lot of fun to play, even though most of the time you have no damn clue what's going on. It's also a lot of fun to watch, especially on the professional level. But Rocket League's pro scene is so stupidly complex and nuanced that even longtime followers can find themselves lost sometimes. So I figured, hey, I've already done one other Rocket League video and it made a lot of money, so this should be an easy cash grab. Wait, what? Hi, my name is Crump, and today I'll be your one-way ticket to customizing Fennec presets and f***ing up flip resets. So welcome one and all to A Casual Fan's Guide to Professional Rocket League. Ready? Alright, let's get started. Our journey begins in the good old days of 2016, where Pokemon went, a gorilla died, and Lin-Manuel Miranda said his iconic line, "It's Miranda in time," and Miranda'd all over Broadway. At this point, there had already been a few Rocket League esports tournaments, most notably Rocket Royale. But for us, we're going to start at the first season of the Rocket League Championship Series. Leading up to the first World Championship, there were quite a few players to watch. Remco, Greasy, Lachinio, Marky Duda, Pashy, Fireburner, Garrett G, and Funny Hat Guy were a few of the people at the tournament. But the two players who the most people had their eyes on were Krenovi and Cookser97. Krenovi had established himself as the best player in all of North America, while Cookser had done the same thing in Europe. Their teams, iBuyPower and Flipside Tactics, would meet in the grand finals, where iBuyPower defeated Flipside. Although this wasn't the start of the NA vs EU rivalry, it was definitely the first large-scale instance of it. And now there will never be a single Reddit thread without it. One more thing, I hope you're remembering all of the names that I'm saying, because they'll probably be important at some point. Maybe. Now on to Season 2, where basically nothing changed. A bunch of new players showed up, like K-Dop, Violent Panda, Devo, and that guy who leaned back in that chair that one time, and somehow Krenovi didn't make it to LAN, but aside from that, it was basically the same. In the end, Cookser got his title, with teammates Greasy and Marky Duda on Flipside Tactics. In Season 3, the main change was allowing OCE to send 2 teams, so instead of 8 teams competing for the title, we now have 10. After a hard-fought lower bracket run and a Game 7 series against Mocket Esports, Northern Gaming, composed of Devo, Remco, and Maestro, won the championship. Wait, what? What do you mean Maestro didn't play? Well, who did? Turbo Pulsa. That's a stupid name. Well, it's probably not too important, so I won't really have to remember it. Well, anyways, we'll take a break from the RLCS to pay a little visit to DreamHack Atlanta. Some more newcomers like JNabs popped up, and there were 2 entirely new teams competing in GaleForce Esports and The Muffin Men? That has got to be the stupidest name I have ever heard. I guarantee you, they are not making it past the first series, let alone the first game.
And they do it, a missed touch, it's right at Fireburner. He has to defend the net, they slam it down. The Muffin Men take down the North American favorites. What a display.
Très projeté en avant du côté de Muffin Men. Est-ce que ça va payer? Oui, là-bas, ça va payer pour Muffin Men. Ils viennent de sortir G2 de la DreamHack.
It's still up in the air, keeping it going is GaleForce, and it falls. The Muffin Men are your DreamHack champions.
DreamHack Atlanta, make some noise for your champions, the Muffin Men.
They won it. They won the whole damn thing. I don't even... What the fuck? Squishy Muffins, Gimmick, and Torment, under the team name The Muffin Men, won their first ever in-person competition together, beating the second place GaleForce with K-Dop, Violent Panda, and Torpo. I'm never gonna get this name right. Season 4 of the RLCS was massive. Just some quick rapid-fire updates. The Muffin Men are now Cloud9. PSG has a Rocket League team with Bluey, Shawset 45, and Mongoose, Mets, and Arsenal are all teamed up on Method. Kami and CJ make their RLCS LAN debut. A lot hits the angle of the century, and Cookser does...
Oh, what? No way! What are you kidding?
Well, he does that. In other news, have you ever seen a ceiling shot in professional play? No? Well, it's your lucky day.
Pressure's not building up too much on him.
Now in the final minute, this was the scoreline in Game 3. Cloud9 unable to take it to Squishy. Now Daily! He puts it through! He's been going for this stuff all season, and he pulls it off here in the most clutch moment.
The player to invent the shot himself.
Squishy's ceiling shot was so massive that motherfucking ESPN tweeted about it. the second most iconic shot in RLCS history. If you disagree, you're wrong. Anyways, GaleForce Esports won from the upper bracket, making Tito Palooza the first ever two-time RLCS champion. Okay, I'll stop mispronouncing it. Also, check out this tweet real quick. It's really important, I promise. Okay, moving on. DreamHack Leipzig is a thing. It happened. PSG won. E-League Cup 2017 happened too. G2 won. That's about it. Also, I know that everyone uses the Octane, but like, why? Season 5. Here we go. Let's start with the newest rookie, Justin. Simply put, he was cracked. Together with teammates Garrett G and Fireburner, remember them? They made it to the grand finals on the upper bracket, facing the old GaleForce squad of Turbo, KDOP, and VP, now under the org Dignitas. Now, if you haven't seen this series, I highly recommend that you go watch it, because this was something special. The first series had ended in 5, with Dig pulling out a win. The second series went all the way to Game 7, and in the dying moments of the game, Turbo scored this goal.
It's going to be over to KDOP. It's almost there. Scored.
Now, all the pressure was on NRG. If the ball touches the ground after the clock hits 0, the game is over. NRG has 3 seconds to get the ball, keep it off the ground, and score. And what happens next can only be described as legendary.
Immediately, they've got the kick off in their favor. KDOP tries to clear. It is almost there. It just has to hit the floor. Final Panda puts it a long way, and it's almost there. Justin keeps it alive. Turbo Possum there. Bounces into the corner. Energy still around. Justin is there for the shot. Justin! This is Rocket League!
The most iconic moment in Rocket League history, without a shadow of a doubt. Justin saves NRG's chances at winning a title in the last possible moment. Now it all comes down to this. Game 7, overtime.
Turbo pulls with it up high. Gets the flick. Turbo!
The plot armor wasn't enough. Turbo capitalized off of a defensive miscommunication and the series was over. KDOP and Violent Panda win their second world championship each, and Turbo wins his third. RLCS Season 6 was up next, and yet again it did not disappoint. Cloud9, after being knocked into the lower bracket after their first series, absolutely tore through every team in their way and beat the nigh invincible Dignitas in back-to-back series, giving Squishy, Gimmick, and Torment their first world championship. After this, KDOP ended up leaving Dignitas and going to Vitality, where at DreamHack Leipzig, he would be defeated by Dignitas, who had Yukio as KDOP's replacement. Next up is DreamHack Dallas, where Cloud9 beat TSM in 6. And finally, DreamHack Valencia. Reynolds and Gyro pop up, OCE still sucks, and Turbo left Dignitas. It all ends in PSG winning, with Fruity, Farah, and... Wait, hold on. What is that? What kind of car is Shawset using? And why is he so damn good? Shawset45 has introduced the Fennec in professional play, and due to his incredible performance with it at DreamHack, pros and players alike all started using it. By 2023, it was being used by almost every single professional player in the world as their go-to car. Season 7 RLCS sees the introduction of South America, bringing with it Tander and Card. Team Vitality wins the World Championship against G2 after a momentum-swinging 0-second goal from Scrubkilla, giving him and Fairy Peak their first RLCS titles and giving KDOP his third, tying him with Turbo. DreamHack Montreal saw the greatest Cinderella story in our esports history. Gyro, Reynolds, and Mist, who were later signed to the Pittsburgh Knights, defeated G2 in the grand finals and won their first LAN title after being almost completely unheard of before. In other news, remember NRG? And remember Turbo? Yeah, that's a thing now. RLCS Season 8 was the season of storylines. South American newcomers like Math and Kaio attended, Arsenal as typical made the semifinals, Sicky hit an absolute banger, and it all came down to the top 3 teams, NRG, Vitality, and Dignitas. Coincidentally, all 3 of them had members of the old GaleForce Dignitas squad on them, with Turbo on NRG, KDOP on Vitality, and Violent Panda still on Dignitas. The match between Vitality and Dignitas went the distance, with a nail-biting overtime in Game 6. Vitality emerged victorious and went on to face NRG in another Game 7 series. In the end, thanks to the Game 7 heroics of Justin, NRG won the grand finals, with Garrett G, Justin, and Turbo Pulsa winning the World Championship. Also, fun fact, The grand finals between NRG and Vitality was the first ever professional Rocket League series I've ever watched, and I watched it live on stream from start to finish. So, needless to say, I got a pretty damn good introduction. And after that, we all had to go inside for a little while. I don't know why, it was probably for a really dumb reason, like the birds or something. Rocket League moved into its next era, RLCS X. A lot happened. A lot of people retired, and a lot of new guys popped up. Entire regions were put on the map, and through it all, a single team from Europe would set the world on fire. In North America, the new Prodigy First Killer arrived, and Squishy replaced Turbo Pulsar on NRG. NRG would go on to win the North American Season X Championship against Space Station Gaming. Also, the North American fans got a lot more annoying. In the Middle East, Rocket League was quickly growing, and soon enough, a team known as Sandrock Gaming emerged as a dominant force. Ahmad, Khaled, TRK, and Senzo, the best players the region had to offer, were looking to prove that MENA could compete with the best. Hell, some guy set up a tournament against all the European teams just to prove that SRG was that good, and SRG placed in second. They were the real deal. However, the Europeans were preoccupied, because there was a new final boss. Seemingly out of thin air, Team BDS, composed of Monkey Moon, Extra, and Mark by 8, absolutely tore through the competition during the regular season, and would go on to meet Team Vitality, composed of K-Dot, Fairy Peak, and Alpha 54 in the finals, where they would lose. However, in the months prior, BDS had been so dominant, so clinical, and so much better than everyone else, that the entirety of Europe was left in the dust, and they were forced to push themselves to the limit to catch back up. This would lead to the NA versus EU rivalry being more one-sided than ever in the following years, and even now, North America is still just barely beginning to close the gap. BDS was the main catalyst in one of the greatest arms races in Rocket League history. In other news, we're finally allowed to leave our houses! RLCS 2021 to 2022 saw a change in format, with 3 splits, each containing 3 regional tournaments and 1 major tournament, with the teams being given points accordingly, and the highest scoring teams in their respective regions would qualify for the World Championship. The Fall Major contained the grand debut of SRG, the arrival of Complexity Gaming, and a grand finals matchup between BDS and NRG, where BDS won with relative comfort. Winter was a vast upgrade in terms of competition and hype, with a whole host of new players and storylines, most notably Team Queso. Vatira, Rise, and Joyo, at their first LAN competition, tore their way through NRG, Furia, FaZe Clan, and even Space Station Gaming, thanks to an incredible last-second save by Vatira and Rise. They would go on to lose against G2, but the European youngsters would gain hundreds of thousands of fans, along with the support of Moist Esports, who signed them after their performance. And if you would believe it, spring was even crazier. The tension had never been higher, the gameplay had never been better, and to top it all off, we were back at the best venue in Rocket League, the Copper Box.
Squishy able to clear that ball, and he gets another
That
demo.
must be
Top
Stefan.
going for Garrett at the midfield.
And to top it all off, we were back at the best venue in Rocket League, the Copper Box. The same place where RLCS Season 5...
Tom, and now another chance. Tom's demo clears the path, and Torment...
The same place where RLCS... Okay, somebody needs to take this guy off the census! Tom became #1 on the entire world's hit list.
Yeah, how about like no professional lobbies?
The Falcons, formerly SRG, made it to Grand, Furia raised the bar for South America, and yet again, Moist Esports, after a miraculous win against Space Station Gaming and a revenge sweep against V1, made their way to the Grand Finals and absolutely demolished the Falcons. Quick break from the RLCS to focus on Gamers 8, where for the first time ever, a non-NAEU team won an S-tier event. Furia, composed of Yan, Tayo, and Card, came in first place at the Saudi tournament, putting their names on the map as a legitimate contender. Now we arrive to the 2021-2022 RLCS Finals. After an exhaustingly long group stage with one of the most underrated series of all time in the Club vs. Furia, highly recommend giving this one a watch too, the quarterfinals were underway. And I'm not gonna lie, Moist vs. Furia is something that you just have to see for yourself. I'm not even gonna spoil the outcome. Go out, look it up, and watch the whole series from start to finish, because it is worth every second. Anyways, you guys remember Team BDS? Nope. Try again. There you go. Well, they kinda dog-walked everyone there aside from Carmine Core in the quarterfinals. Monkey Moon, Extra, and Seiko would win the entire tournament, with the gentleman's sweep against G2 and a massive fuck you to the United States crowd. Moving right along to the fall major of RLCS 2022-2023, and after the European players, apparently Jack and Nolly, moved to North America and picked up the rookie Chronic, they defeated Moist Esports in 6 to win the tournament. Also, quick side note, Vatira left Moist and went to Carmine Corps with Itachi and Exotic. And clearly it paid off because they won the Winter Major in dominant fashion. Now, Spring is very different from these past few tournaments because there's a new kid on the block, and his name is Zen. To summarize, Zen is this era's Justin if he was on 300 kilograms of crystal meth and had the car control of an angry Texan driving a 2006 Ford F-150. He, along with Alpha 54 and Radosin, were dominating their competition, winning all 3 regionals in Europe. After a lower bracket run that saw the longest overtime in-person professional Rocket League history against Rule 1, and after a passionate speech from their head coach, Farah,
I want you guys to have, a great experience, but I want us to have a great experience. Root for us, and in exchange...
By the way, I really hope you remember him too. Team Vitality would go on to win the major. As for the World Championship, I gotta say, as a North American fan, it was hype as fuck! I honestly didn't really care that it was an all-European top 4, I just loved watching the gameplay. In particular, I'd highly recommend watching the Vitality vs Carmine Corps series. To me, the crowds, casting, and gameplay, for the most part, is Rocket League at its absolute peak. In the end, Vitality went on to win the RLCS World Championship, meaning that Zen, after just a few months of being a professional, has already won more World Championships than JNAPs. Another quick break from the RLCS to talk about Gamers 8 again. Vitality was competing, so surely they win this one too, right? Nah man, they got clowned on. It was V1, consisting of Daniel, Beast Mode, and Calm, who would win the entire tournament. Vitality, just like BDS, had ignited yet another arms race. But this time, it wasn't just Europe. The whole world leveled up their game, and going into RLCS 2024, it was clear to see. In the Winter Major, it was the European team Gentlemates, consisting of Itachi, Seiko, and Juicy, who won the tournament, defeating G2 in 6 games and concluding one of the best Rocket League events of all time. Because it was one of the best Rocket League events of all time. There were so many exciting matchups and storylines. The casting was great, and although the crowd was small, it was very passionate. But more than any of that, the gameplay was amazing. Each of the teams in that top 8 were absolutely incredible to watch. Game 7s, overtime, a fucking ground pinch. And better than any of that, the diversity. Rocket League is going through a renaissance. This new era brings with it a lot of changes. And although some of them may not be for the better, I don't see a way that anyone could look at Rocket League now and say that it's worse than it was even 6 months ago. After years upon years of NA versus EU, other teams from different regions are popping up and staking their claim to being the best in the world. And it seems like now, any team could be the one to win it all. Falcons, Furia, BDS, Vitality, Gen G, Carmine Corps, G2, Gentlemates, Oxygen, hell, even Power! What I'm trying to say is this. There has never been a more competitive era in our esports history. And that means that now would be the perfect time to get invested. So if you're new here and you managed to make it this far into the video without getting bored, then you might want to give this esport a shot. There's so much more to explore and so many more great tournaments and series that I haven't even mentioned. And speaking of some of those series, I'll have a playlist linked in the description of several Rocket League matchups that I think every new fan should watch. A lot of them are very mainstream inclusions, but there are some in there that are a bit more niche, and some that are in there just because I liked watching them. So feel free to check it out when you have the time. Also, make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Anyways, my voice is dying and my sanity is going with it, so I'm gonna wrap this up here. Thank you all so much for watching a casual fan's guide to professional Rocket League history.